Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indie Comics Explained. And today I have a bunch of people up, so it's fantastic. I did an open call. As many folks as come in, we can get in here. We're going to be talking about comic books. Before we get to that, though, I got Indiegogo going on with the Oswald Chronicles. You go check that out in the show notes. These are the books that are up there. You know, Oswald doing his magical thing. All right, so we will bring in the first person that actually showed up, which was Mr. Pops Van Zandt. How you doing, Pops?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. So, Pops, please introduce yourself.
I'm Pops Van Zandt. I'm mainly a comic fan who just kind of like took on the role of trying to help out my friends when all the tables went down and stuff, and I started promoting people's books and turned it just turned my little tiny Facebook group into a monster of its own, I guess. It's gotten pretty crazy. I'm having a good time, cool. But comic related madness, that's the name of the group on Facebook.
Nice.
That's where we do CromCon. If you've heard of CromCon, that's
coming up. It's a few days away.
Yeah, and that guy's gonna be in it.
I'll be there. I will make it. All right, so let me bring on the next person, Mr. Michael Odin.
What's up, sir? Guys?
How come
Speaking of CromCon, I think I'm going to be on there too. Goodness gracious.
So, Mike, introduce yourself.
I'm Michael Odin. I'm the creator and writer of Elysian Fields and Nine Realms Publishing. We have 2 campaigns going on right now. We've got our Kickstarter for the softbound collector's edition of Elysian Fields, and we have the Indiegogo for Pyramid Gambit, and we have a Thanksgiving Day weekend.
Nice.
Oh man, that's a hell of a pinup. I wonder where Pops got that. I wonder where he got it. But yeah, we have a Thanksgiving weekend sale where all of our original artwork on Pyramid Gambit is 50% off. So don't miss out on that.
Yeah, as much as I love that, I told you about this. I don't like this. I don't like the creases, the color break when you fold them up.
Hey, look, man, it was the best way to ship those things and get them to you guys. I'm sorry.
Just make them comic size. Then we can put them right in a bag and board, and they're protected, and they're
Yeah, but big posters.
I know.
All right, gentlemen, we can save that. I'm gonna bring in our next guest, the esteemed Mr. Randy Zimmerman.
Just as I started stuffing my face, Michael Odin. Next time, think about doing door hangers.
Yes.
Door hangers?
That'll make Varian Grant very happy if you did that.
I'll keep that in mind.
I like the idea personally. Do not disturb.
I'm thinking about doing it on my first campaign. I haven't done a campaign yet, but I will. When I do, I'm thinking of doing door hangers.
And enter at your own risk,
Have Achilles pointing a spear out, being like, if you try to enter the room, I'll fight you.
Mm-hmm.
No, it'd be like, don't be a heel. Don't play with the knob.
So, Randy, introduce yourself.
I'm just some guy wandering around who got a click or got a link from who knows where. No, I'm Randy Zimmerman. I'm an independent and alternative comic book creator that has been in the business for decades and decades. Done just about everything in the direct market that you can imagine, from throwing conventions to retailing to creating comics to doing my own self-publishing and printing a lot of other people's stuff along the way. So done it all. Now I'm podcasting just to, add to that list.
All right, so we're gonna bring in Mr. Joe D. McPhee.
Joe D.
Yo.
How is Chicago?
Yes, all the way from Chicago, and I'm part of the madness that Pops was talking about. I see that he's a Macho Man fan. All it got to be cream of the crop.
There you go. There you go.
So, Joe, introduce yourself.
I am Joe D. McPhee. I am the president of Agency Studios. I'm the creator of Amazonia, AWF, and Primetime Saturday Night. all three, which are on Comixology, and I just got through fulfilling a Kickstarter campaign for Amazonian #1 10th anniversary edition, which we just recently celebrated our 10th year anniversary for that series.
It's awesome.
Nice.
That's awesome, man.
Yep. Cool. So let's bring in the crazy man. If anybody thought they were crazy, this guy is crazy.
What's up?
Mr. Sam Vera.
What's going on?
Sam Vera.
Testing out that new room. I like it.
Yeah, I'm actually giving my notes back to the artist for what I'm for Cast of Crazies issue 2. So I'm actually on my graphic tablet right now, just going over some of the things that need changed. But how you guys doing?
Awesome.
Good.
Awesome.
Doing awesome.
I owe Sam an apology because I tried to hook him up for CromCon 8 and got the messages mixed up. Didn't get him out there, and I owe him one.
Yeah, you left me on the dance floor waiting to be to dance.
Yeah, I owe you one.
How could you, Pop?
We have open.
You monster.
It was horrible, man. It was horrible. It was like, how am I going to fit him in? And then when I tried to message him, it was like, we didn't get hooked up. And it was like, man, what am I going to do? But I always try to make it up to people when they don't get out there. Like Michael knows, I'll stay out as late as I have to make sure he gets out. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, so I owe you one, Sam. And we have 2 open panels on Saturday at 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. And you're more than welcome to come out for either one of those.
Most likely 9 p.m.
right.
Yeah, because I'm
You are-
working it today.
We will
All right, so-
definitely be broadcasting it live. You'll hear about it, and I'll make sure.
Sam. So
Yeah.
Sam, introduce yourself.
I'm Sam, the Crazy Man Vera. I am the founder and host and creator of Catch the Craze podcast and also Crazy Media Group. I'm an independent artist, creator of comic books. We just launched a successful Kickstarter campaign for Catch the Crazies issue 1. And I'm actually holding the script to issue 2. And I have the first the entire 24 pages laid out for issue 2, which is why I'm going over my notes. He's gonna kill me when I give him back my notes. But that's who I am.
All right, cool. Let's bring on one more person. Mr. Mark Guano Guy.
The
Hey,
Guano
everybody.
Man.
Mark.
To meet Mr. Darden.
That's
Darden.
Dart.
I've been waiting a long time for this one, man. How you doing?
Reminds me of Ace
Personally-
Ventura.
Personally, I like Guano Dude, but it's just me.
Yeah.
You gotta get all the guanos in there. You gotta go Guano Man, Guano Dude, Guano Chick.
The Guano
Just get
family.
them all.
We got 6 guano boys, a guano girl. There's a guano fan. I mean, there's Mirror Guano guy. There's a ton of them.
Uncle Guano.
Uncle Guano.
I've actually been reading those books,
Yeah.
Mark. I got my package from the latest campaign here, and I'm having a good time with it, man. Great books.
Poopy the
Sweet.
Guano puppy.
Mhm.
No, thank you. Thank you
I
very
still
much.
feel
I,
I still feel the Guano family. They will drive you batshit crazy. That's the tag. They will drive you.
There you go.
batshit crazy. The Guano family.
we just try to entertain with the guano. Just, keep people happy and having a good time. Thank you so much for reading and supporting. I appreciate that a lot. And thank you for the kind words.
So, Mark, introduce yourself.
So I'm Mark Darden, creator of the Guano Guy, and working on Guano Guy comics as well as a big indie project. And I talk to planes for a living.
You talk to players for a living. Nice. Well, it's a good thing you do because none of us would be able to go anyplace if you didn't.
Yeah. No, it'd just be a little less safe,
Uh-huh. Just a little.
Get out of here, buddy, dummy.
Look at that. Pop's got another guest on. So,
Yeah, that's Zeus.
Yeah.
Zeus.
Zeus the moose.
Oh, he looked like he had something to say.
Oh,
Mhm.
no, the
He's a good boy.
the other one talks. That one just gets all up on you.
Oh, okay.
Fox comes in the room, you'll know it. Trust me.
So, guys, I mean, like we're here to talk about comics. Does anybody have anything they want to talk about specifically? Because I'll start throwing out questions.
Oh.
You just lost somebody. What was Randy?
How about you let me throw out my little promo for CromCon and invite people to come out for the open panels, and then I'll get out you guys' way and you can be creators.
All right, go ahead. Go for it, Pops.
Comic related madness this weekend, CromCon 9. Our schedule is full. Opening up, we have Meredith Logren and Rob Anderson, and they're going to talk about the elevator pitch. And then we're going to spend all day watching people do their elevator pitches with a panel in the middle at 4 o'clock, which all of you are more than welcome to come out and get involved, because obviously only a couple of you actually have spots. So, but the panels are open. You're more than welcome to come out. Mark, Joe, I already told you, Sam, you guys are welcome. Michael's already going to be there. JD's already got a spot. So, you know, you guys are all welcome to come out and talk. Give us your elevator pitch and tell us where to find what you got going on. And that's what we do. Comic Talk with Pops on YouTube, Comic Related Madness on Facebook. And JD, thanks for letting me do that.
No problem, man. Anytime.
He's gonna be there. He's gonna be there. He's gonna be there. He's gonna be. Everybody's gonna be there. Just come on.
There you go.
All right. Peace.
All right, Pops. Take care,
All
man.
right,
Thank
Pops.
you.
Thanks, man.
See ya, bud.
So you know what? Let's talk a little bit about that. The elevator pitch. It's one of the things I suck at. So, Mark, how do you do your elevator?
You're not the only one. You're not the only one.
Yeah,
But I
Guano,
mean,
guy is, Guano guy is Seinfeld with superpowers. The cast of jerks that don't know they're jerks.
So yeah, okay. So there you go. See, Mark knows how to do a damn pitch. Look at this guy. He's like a pro. But you're a comedian too, right? So you're used to standing up and like you know, speaking to groups and people, especially people you don't know. You know, it's like damn weirdos.
Right? Yeah. I was in the military. Had to yell at people. Taught fitness. Had to give people direction.
Mark, what branch?
Army.
MOS?
Air traffic control.
Oh,
yeah.
So that explains a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
11 Bravo. Okay.
Yeah, they changed it. Yeah.
All right. So Odin, how do you deal with what's your elevator pitch for
Elysian Fields?
Yes, sir.
Goodness gracious, putting me on the spot.
Yes, sir.
So
that's how it happens.
Yep.
Yeah. Battle Royale book between mythic heroes is like the short and condensed version. I find that, you know, when it comes down to an elevator pitch, you have your like short, and then you have your like 2 to 3 sentences that you can get in under a minute.
Gotcha.
And,
have you done a convention yet?
Have I done a convention yet?
Yeah.
No, I wish.
Oh wow. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's the reason why. Okay.
Exactly. Because when you're at a convention, you're gonna find that when you encounter that first customer or the second customer, or third, whatever, it's gonna be a bunch of them. You're gonna be like standing there, and they're gonna look at you. You're gonna be like, "Oh shit, what was I supposed to say?"
Oh no, like I'm good at talking on my, like, I realized that wasn't like my best thing. I've worked like 3 12-hour shifts in the past week, so like
gotcha.
I'm running on fumes. I'm coming to hang out, but like when it comes down to conversation, I could like I'm pretty good on the fly. I did debate in college. I talked people into going to a military school in high school, so like I can talk to people. I'm good at it.
Right.
It's just right now we are on fumes.
Gotcha. So Joe, what advice do you have for anybody doing the elevator pitch? Like, what does yours look like?
It depends on which title you talk about too. That's also, it's like it's not just one elevator pitch. And with me, you come up to my table, the very first question I might ask you is like, "Hey, what are you into?"
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Well, I'm into action. I'm into this. I'm into that." It's like, aha, if you're into this, then I'm going to pitch you this here. Let's take Primetime Saturday Night, for example. If you're into action, you like sports, Primetime Saturday Night probably would be right up your alley because it's female pro wrestling set to WWE Raw with superpowers. We don't have like the the energy blast and everything, but the raw strength, mid-air combat, mid-air counters, power drives and everything. It's right there for you. Whole card from beginning to end, all the way up to main events. And each issue is at least 50 plus pages. That's the elevator pitch.
All right, cool. Let's move on to Randy. Randy, I mean, how do you handle elevator pitches?
I've never really done one.
So I mean, what do you do at shows?
Just kidding. Done a lot of stuff. So
Randy,
done a lot of stuff. So
pick your favorite.
Elevator pitches. I don't know. Jeez, what do you want? Hey, do you like whatever? And take a look at this.
Okay, so he has the same type of pitch I have. Like, what do you want? Just it's on the table. Just buy it and go. Please.
Well, like with that,
no, you can't be like buying it and go. You're like, here, let me sign this for you. This, that, the other. Come back for issue number 5 or issue number 8.
Listen,
buy it and go is officially the best elevator pitch that there is.
Yeah. With the Flint comics, it was always a real quick description of what it was, because most of the time people were picking it up and just looking at it and going, "What the heck is this?" It's like, well, this is a comics and entertainment newspaper that we put together locally. We move 10,000 copies of this, and anything that we have left over, which is usually maybe a handful to 100 or so, we bring to conventions like this and we give it away for free, because that's what we do with the paper. The paper's advertiser supported. We give it away for free all around the area. So
I also feel that there needs to be a distinguishment between elevator pitch and marketing, because marketing is a conversation between you and the customer. Elevator pitch is getting the initial hook in. Like there are two separate things. So like with the have people come back for issues 5 and 8, like Joe was talking about, that's something that you should be, kind of pushing out there as you're having the conversation of marketing, as someone that has done that for a living for a little bit. So
gotcha. So all right. So I mean, so you're talking about if you were pitching it to to some Hollywood dude or something, or you were pitching it to another publisher, a bigger publisher, that sort of thing?
That would be your elevator pitch. Would be like you talking to like a publisher, for instance, would be you going and being like, you want to get this into their company, you want them to produce your books and distribute them. That would be where your elevator pitch comes in. If you're if you are talking to a potential consumer, you don't want to necessarily just rush them along. You want to create a conversation, because at that point you're not only getting the customer to invest in your product, you're getting them to invest in you. Right? That's the advantage of having that one-on-one conversation, is showcasing your personality, talking to them, gauging their interest. Like, Joe was talking about, like, hey, what sort of stuff are you into? Oh, you like superheroes? I've got this book over here. I think that this will be right up your alley, and creating that conversation and that dynamic. And that's two separate parts of the equation.
Gotcha. All right, cool. We're going to get back to you, Odin. Mr. Sam Vera, how do you deal with elevator pitches?
Try to make it. I'll read you what we had for the crazies. It's just a quick 2 sentences. It's when 2 podcasters make a deal to make their podcast the #1 show in the world, they summon the help of the supernatural and quickly learn the old adage: be careful what you wish for, lest it come true. Hopefully that's enough to get them to say, oh, I want to hear more. Mm-hmm. And then that's where you start the conversation. So I think it's that quick, hey, what floor are you going to? All right, I only got a few seconds. Let's do this. And then hopefully by the time that door opens, hey, you know what? I'm going to get some coffee. You want to come? I'd like to hear more about that story. Boom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you a question. Like that pitch, did you and George get together and like create that pitch? Or you guys sat down and like really like sat down and formulated it? Or was this just something like you just wrote out on the fly?
No. So for George and I were doing table reads and, going over the story and the plot and the whole bit. And when we started doing the Kickstarter, one of the things that, we had on the agenda was the pitch, elevator pitch. So then George presented that to me. So actually he wrote it. And so when he says, what do you think about this? We were about to start the conversation about the pitch. And I was like, I'm not changing a thing. That's perfect. So that's where it went. I think once we understood the history, the premise, the plot of the entire story, it was easy to write it.
Gotcha. So yeah. Anybody else got anything to say about pitches? If not, we'll just move on.
What
Gordon
was
had
your
one.
pitch?
Gotta have
who excluded you out of the conversation? That was the first thing that came to my mind.
Well, I'm playing variant here, so whenever he asks a question, he never answers the question. He just asks the question. Didn't I just tell you I suck? Well, now for Oswald, it's let me see if I can even remember it. I haven't pitched it for long because I haven't had to. It's what if the greatest sorcerer of our time was born in the body of a mouse? And that's basically as succinct as it gets.
I don't gotta pitch Oswald. Oswald pitches himself.
Exactly. That's
look at the cool mouse, dude.
Exactly. That's why I have such a tough time selling it.
It's
that's why I'm doing these damn videos.
little mouse who has magical powers that goes on adventures, and your little kids will love it.
Exactly. So, all right. So, guys, yeah. Don't mind me. I'm getting messages from people. But when it comes down to all right, so we've all done. Who hasn't done a Kickstarter except for Randy? I know Randy hasn't done
I haven't done one yet. No.
Yeah, but everybody else has, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yep.
I know I have. I have done.
I'm in the
several.
middle of doing my first one on Kickstarter. Anyway, I've done Indiegogo.
So there's my question: how are you finding Kickstarter versus Indiegogo?
It's very difficult for me because I don't have my market established over at Kickstarter. I've done a pretty good job of pushing my brand out on Indiegogo and doing the connections and everything, going on the shows and this, that, the other. But the big problem is when you're going over to the Kickstarter side of things, is if you're not already established over there, it becomes a lot more difficult. And so a goal that I could hit pretty easily right now on Indiegogo is feeling like, Sisyphus pushing a boulder up a hill. But it's a whole thing of, again, this is not difficult work. You just got to do a lot of it. And so it's about reaching out to the people and everything. And I'm doing what I can on my end. And that's ultimately what crowdfunding is all about, is using your networking and your resources to get out there and approach new audiences.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I have my I have my crowd at Kickstarter, and I'm trying to build a crowd at Indiegogo, and that's just where I'm having a problem. I think I'm just gonna have to. One of the things I haven't done is reached out to more other podcasters and go on their streams. So I mean, how do you guys find that? How do you guys find other podcasts to go on?
I go almost anywhere I'm invited. As long as somebody sends me a link, and they don't mind me working while I'm on the air, I will jump over there.
Gotcha. Mark, how do you deal with it?
Yeah, I mean, it's networking, having friends and sharing with them the ones I know, and them inviting me over to something they're going to do. And that just slowly expands the pie, the scope of where I can try to connect.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep getting to know more people.
All right, cool.
And hopefully be a great, be a good interview, be fun so that folks want me back.
Well, yeah, of course. You're a lot of fun to have on. I had you on.
Yeah, that was a good interview. That was a fun one. Those good questions.
I don't know about that, but I thought.
No, it was.
we lost. I thought we were gonna get to see Odin. We lost him.
No. I didn't realize I hit the camera button. I'm at work still.
Gotcha.
So
So
you guys didn't see anything.
No, we saw nothing. We saw nothing. We saw a ceiling actually. That's about it.
Yeah, that's all we saw.
You didn't even see that, guys. Just
Okay, cool.
It's
We
okay.
didn't even see that. Gotcha. So, Joe, I know. Have you done an Indiegogo or just Kickstarter?
I haven't done an Indiegogo in years because when I first started crowdfunding, that was the first platform I tried, and that was not successful. And then my first success in crowdfunding came through Kickstarter.
Gotcha. And I mean, so how many have you done so far?
I have done what? 4. Wait, let me think here. 1, 2, 3, 4 on Kickstarter, 2 on Indiegogo. Both of the ones on Indiegogo failed. Well, actually, I can't say it failed. I would have to say because I used the flex funding, I did get something for it.
Right.
So, but I didn't reach. It's easier to say I didn't reach my goal on Indiegogo. On Kickstarter, 3 of the 4 that I did were successful.
Cool. All right, cool. So what did you see as your biggest obstacle when it comes down to
between the two?
Well, not between the two, but even either platform. Like, what did you see as your biggest obstacle of succeeding? Like, what is it that you saw was in your way to to get to that next level?
People need to know that who you are, because I'm finding the more that I do these Kickstarter campaigns, the more I do crowdfunding, there's a lot of people that don't know who you are. There's people who are aware that you do comics, but there's not enough people there to know that you're serious enough that you actually got actual IPs and actual books, and that they're already done or 90% done, and the only thing that's left is to put it into their hands.
Right. Gotcha. All right, cool. Mr. Crazy Man. So you, Sam, I'm looking at you.
Mark was going me.
So because it was my first Kickstarter, I tried everything. I did as many podcasts as I could get onto, outside of promoting it on my own. The challenge was everyone's at different times.
Right.
So some guys are 11 o'clock at night, and some guys are in the morning, and so it was it really screwed when you were working full time, running your own podcast, creating your own comics, and trying to promote. It really wore on my body. Like my sleep patterns were just like out the door for those 30 days. So it was a challenge, but I believe because what I learned was exactly what I think Joe said. It's like nobody knows who you are, and what so you have to hustle, and going on the other shows, you're showing your face and identifying yourself as a creative to another group of people that would never have known who you were unless you took off. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't think there isn't anything that's too small that I wouldn't go on to promote. That's the way I look at it, because I am at the bottom of the barrel trying to get to the float to the top, right? So it's a necessity.
Yep, this is true. So, Mark, you got anything else to add to that?
I've only done Kickstarter so far. I feel like I'm getting better with it and figuring out my method of drawing people in. I've been doing videos, so I like doing fun little readings, and those have gotten better and better, where I've added effects and sound and music and just entertaining little 30-second to 1-minute videos that give a piece of the comic. I don't have any experience with Indiegogo yet. I'm hoping to use it with my next one, so I'll be plugging people for advice, because I figure there's got to be people that are on there that don't come over to Kickstarter. So I feel like I'm just missing out on an opportunity not to get myself in there, to reach more folks.
There are definitely two crowds. So, and the thing is like I said, like I have my crowd at Kickstarter, but it's that crowd just like Odin and I have the opposite problems. I'm kind of situated at Kickstarter, but on Indiegogo, you gotta literally bring your crowd. I mean, would you agree with that, Odin?
Yeah, you've got to Indiegogo is, Randy said it before in different streams. Indiegogo is the Wild West. You're going in there, you have a battle axe, you have a sword, you're going out there and you're literally fighting every other comic book on the market for the attention. You are fighting tooth and nail. Like, these guys are, as much as they are a part of a community, they are competitors in business and in everything. And so you need to be on all of the platforms they are. You need to be using all the platforms they are. Twitter is huge over on the Indiegogo side. I think if I went up and pulled up my analytics, I'd say probably 30% of my sales that I have had from this campaign alone have been from Twitter users. So people that follow me on Twitter, and that's a kind estimate. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was closer to 50 of people that have seen my material on Twitter and everything, and I've been on shows from people that I've met over on that side of things. And it's not always fun because Twitter's a cesspool, but you do what you got to do. And whereas on the like that, and like that's the whole thing with Indiegogo is, again, it's all about getting in and meeting these other creators. And a lot of these guys have their own YouTube shows, and you can go on and talk about your book and shoot the shit with them for a little bit, like what we're doing right now. And that'll bring people in, and they have a very active following. But again, that's what you're at, is it's literally, you are fighting for every scrap that you get. It's definitely different because Kickstarter, it's very much more of a thing of everybody sees who everyone backs, right? So if JD went and backed my book on Kickstarter, every single person that follows him in turn sees that and gets drawn in. And so I don't want to say it's more merciful on Kickstarter, but if you're already well established with even just 5 or 6 people that have a well established community, their backing will get you other backers. It might not be right away, but you're going to get those eyes on your campaign eventually, because people are going to say, oh, well, he's backing it. Who's attached to this? Is this anyone I know? And unfortunately, the person attached with my book on Kickstarter is me. And so, nobody knows me over there. So it's fighting an uphill battle for sure.
Gotcha. And you're doing a 30-day or did you say a 60-day campaign?
I'm doing a 60-day on Kickstarter because I am a glutton for punishment, man. I'm a glutton for punishment, and I freaking hate myself.
That's torture.
Anyway, like
Kickstarter, that is torture.
Oh, it sucks. It sucks, but I figure I need every single day I can get because I have nothing over there. I have no established credibility on Kickstarter. This is my first one. So yeah, I'm putting myself through hell, but the idea is that when I do a Kickstarter after this, I won't have to put it at 60 days. I can put it at that 30-day limit, and we'll get people coming in and get funded and everything. It won't be a worry. But at this point in time, I need every single day. And on the Indiegogo side of things, they allow you to do the extensions, and that's another big part of how that whole thing works. So if anybody is interested in going onto that Indiegogo, utilizing the extension is a great way to boost your numbers at specific points in the campaign based off of your marketing, where you effectively use those the end of your first 30 days as a way to get people in for a last chance sale, and then you extend for another 30 to get to the full 60. And a lot of creators over on Indiegogo do this. And you will see when you look at their analytics, you'll see spikes halfway through the campaign, and then it will kind of plateau again. And then at the end of the 60-day window is when you'll see them do a lot of crazy specials and everything like that to get in for those last chances. And then you see another tremendous spike. And then it again starts to flatten out and plateau as they go in demand.
Gotcha. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think at the end of the campaign, right, on Indiegogo, did you see a big spike like those
On
last 2 or 3
mine,
days? Right.
on mine, a little bit on this one. I'm going to be honest with you. We were going to be going on a very big show during that weekend. We were supposed to go on it. One of the big opportunity that I was looking forward to that really helped us out on the last stream with the last campaign going on Mandy, that fell through that last weekend, which really hurt us because that was where I was expecting to really clean up, because her show has a really active following, and you have usually around 200 people at any given time watching her show.
Right.
And like on my first campaign, I've told the story on here before. We were on Mandy's stream and we raised over $600 in 2 hours.
Nice.
Like it was impressive. But like then the other thing is that I didn't get, while I was trying to find another show to kind of surrogate that and get on, nothing took, and my closeout show that I was supposed to do with Phil ended up not happening, Phil Lockler, because he had some stuff going on, and it was we didn't do as well as I was expecting. We still saw a spike, but rather than like on the last during the 30 days, we had such a spike that we became one of the top 3 trending comic book campaigns on Indiegogo. And then on the previous book, again, we had that massive spike the last day. But unlike those, we did have like a steady up, but I wouldn't consider it a spike at all. We got up to like, I think that closeout day for 60, we got to like $500. When in like previous ones, we were breaching 1,000.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, it's a tough game.
Oh, 100%. Like it's as I said, it really is the Wild West out there, man. It's like when you're, especially when you're on Indiegogo, it's everyone's fighting, and there's 1,000,001 freaking fantastic looking campaigns coming out every day.
Yeah.
And it makes things difficult.
Now, listen, let's switch up gears a little bit. Let's talk about something a little different, because here's something I don't normally talk about because I'm all indie, But here's something. I just want to see where you guys are looking at this. Marvel and DC, right? We kind of look at them, we kind of don't, right? We kind of like ignore them, and we kind of, piss the bitch about them, but whatever. How do you guys think we're affected by those guys? Like what moves are they making that are affecting us? Like, how are they fixing the industry or screwing it up? So Odin, I'll start with you. Well, no, actually, let me start with Sam.
Started with me. I think it's I think when people get tired of the politics or the same stuff being just rehashed and just like recycled, I think that's when indies benefit, because they're looking for something fresh and new. Because how many times they're going to reinvent the same character over and over again? But it all depends. I think it's cyclical. I think it's peaks and valleys. There are moments where you'll see there's like this big craze with the independent movement, and then it dips because something happens in the big two, and it shifts. So I think you have to seize those opportunities when you can and be ready for that. But I think with Hollywood scooping up all the brands, it makes it even more challenging as well for the little guys, because these guys have leverage. They have the best lawyers and agents that's going to pitch their unlimited library of content, and so it all depends on what aspect you're looking at it. But like right now with DC and all of the layoffs and the elimination of their leadership and a lot of their positions, what kind of impact is that going to have on the little guy? Is it going to be a better opportunity for the little guy, or is it going to get worse? We don't, I don't know, because everyone rides the backs of those two big two. So It's just my opinion.
So, Mark, how you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel like I'm a little out of touch with Marvel and DC. I don't pay a lot of attention to them at this point. They're just not. I mean, I'm not saying everything they put out is bad, but it's just not a lot of it's reaching me. I thought DC did a good move with going to more miniseries and doing the prestige book that is not gonna where there's not a ton of them, but you're gonna get a few. I think that's a smart move, kind of copying indie guys. I'm completely out of touch with Marvel. I don't hear anything but bad things, and nothing I ever hear about them makes me want to go check anything they're doing out. You know,
it's not necessarily a bad place to be. You save a lot of money that way.
Oh gosh, no! I got money's been flowing out to some stuff. I do. The point was brought up about Kickstarter though, and definitely there's some of those where I've had no clue they were coming out. But even with, I mean, I'm talking even with like bigger people, but somebody I knew backed it. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, and jump over there and see something, you know, awesome going on that I want to get in on. So yeah, I didn't know. That's a big help. It's not only helps me find stuff I want, but also, helps people find me. But yeah, I don't know. They're just not really doing that much. I really am paying a lot more attention to what my fellow indie creators are doing. And trying to see where there's something I can learn from them. How are they getting themselves out there? What are they doing that's, you know, cool with their books? I guess I just don't really want to listen to that same record over and over again that I'm hearing from Marvel. You know, I need somebody that's, you know, the punk rock or the street artist that's coming out throwing something that people say is no good, but it's hitting the masses, or it's, you know, it's giving some people something fresh that they want to listen to.
Right. No, I got you, man. I got you. Sometimes it's hard doing your thing and then paying attention to their thing, you know? So I know where you're coming from. Randy, how do you feel about it?
Well, I got out of the direct market in the early 2003, because I was tired of dealing with Diamond, who was literally kissing the exclusives' ass and giving a special discount to them and special preference and all of this. And I figured I would never want to get back into the direct market. So I went out and created that newspaper I was talking about earlier and circulated that for 10 years, 100 issues. It's really fascinating when you get into the history of stuff, because I love comics. Comics are my deepest passion. And I've studied a lot of the history of comics and the direction that these large companies have gone, and the stuff that they've done. Marvel and DC have literally chased off so much of their audience over the decades that it's sickening and frightening. It's bad enough that the audience is being chipped away by other media and other formats, other means of entertainment, video games and theater, television, all this. And they do nothing. They do nothing to pursue them. Nothing. They just let them go. They sat there and they didn't even wave as they went out the door. The cool thing about crowdfunding is that they are going back now and attracting those people, a lot of those people that have left the market back since the 2000s, since the 90s, even since the mid 80s, that are going back now and finding, well, this guy worked for Image and did this book that I remember as a kid that was really cool, and he's now doing a crowdfunding book where he's either bringing that property back or doing something that looks exactly like it, and I need to get on board with that. The mainstream has literally almost whittled themselves into non-existence if you go and you look at their numbers. And the crowdfunding market is expanding because there are so many people out there. And that's one reason that brought me back into comics, was because I learned that there are so many people out there desperately hungry for good entertainment. And they're thankfully, Marvel and DC are not out there trying to fill that void, because they're out there looking and they're tired of the same the same story in their video game They're watching all of their franchises literally being decayed into nothing, and their numbers and ratings dissolve into nothing. Their merchandising dissolving into nothing because they keep wanting to go in a wrong direction or an unprofitable direction. But yet there's these guys out there doing crowdfunding books that are some of those books you look at and you go, oh, that's a 90s book, that's an 80s book, that's a 2000s book.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fantastic. And there's a lot of other product out there as well. The market is literally expanding, blowing up, even like Michael pointed out. It's like the Wild West, because you can go out there and do a book now and go find your audience by using YouTube and other whatever other means of communication you can get your hands on in order to attract people in. And as time goes by, those avenues are going to become more and more open because there's more and more people out there. Plus, if you know comics history, comics thrive at a time of depression.
Mm-hmm.
Comics started during the Great Depression, and they were big during that period. They got even bigger during World War II when all of the guys, the fighting men, were overseas. Now is the time, and we're about to hit another, if the economists predict, another incredibly huge depression. I mean, anybody who pays attention to the politics in their state realizes there's a brick wall that everybody is quickly running towards, there's going to be a desperate need for inexpensive and easily obtainable entertainment, and we're there. You know, I think that the independent guy is at a better place now than what he was in the last 10, 12 years, mainly because these large corporations don't give a crap other than the fact of making sure their imagery is still out there on TV or in the movies. They don't give a crap how their imagery looks in the printed marketplace, because in all of their minds, print is dead. You know, they think that they've moved beyond that, when really the market is so out there, or so there, and so obtainable. All they have to do is reach out there and pluck it if they bother to do it. They don't want to do it. So we'll do it.
Now there's like a weird dichotomy that goes on there, that like you see, like what you just said is true. I think on the higher levels of Disney, they don't give two craps about publishing.
No.
But then you have the guys who work at Marvel who lord it over the rest of us. You understand? And how, they come out. I mean, some professionals, they just don't have nice things to say either about the fans, or even indies on occasion. You
know the books that I've written in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I did a book about comics history or the comic market in general. That's what you call professional mushrooming.
Right.
These guys have been kept in the dark, and they've been fed a lot of shit about how important they think they're supposed to be. And you see that on the 616 documentaries that are on Disney Plus. All these guys trumping through the office and all looking like hot shots and stuff. Mm-hmm. And now you look at how you go in and you see how much money they're making. Then you see how much money they're getting paid. And you see how much money is out here.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, literally, I'm sure a lot of us are starting to wake up and go, hey, you guys ain't making shit. Why are you there? You're there to be driven under the thumb by the big conglomerate. And I had a chance to be a Marvel intern back in way back when. And at the time, I asked him how much it paid, and I laughed. And the person who pitched it, who offered it to me, offered me an internship. I laughed in their face. I said, "There's no way I'm moving to New York City to live on that much money. Even if I had 5 roommates in the same room, I couldn't survive."
Right.
And it's a lot more. It's a lot less. I'd have to literally take a huge pay cut from, at the time I was working at a bookstore. Where I was clearing a tenth of what they wanted to pay me per year. I was making in a week.
Jesus.
And I'm like, dudes, no, I'm not doing that. So you go out. I had to go out and find my own path, where nowadays it's so much more easier because you've got Kickstarter, you've got Indiegogo, and you've got these crowdfunding platforms where you can take your idea and pitch it out there and go, hey, I want to do a book. I want to do a book about Guano Guy. Awesome idea, unique concept. Let's see how this goes. Well, there you go. And it's a matter of getting out there and humping and marketing. And granted, a lot of us now are all learning. We're all learning how to do the stuff that you and I and Daphne and everybody had to learn back in the 80s how to be your own marketer, how to be your own promoter, how to deal with publishers, how to deal with the getting your book out there and distributed, how to you know, and how to do everything else except for the creative end of things. So, you know, it's a give and take. We've traded in the opportunity to work at these big mainstreams and do what? Create and promote their IPs that they're doing their movies about and they're doing their crap about, their underoos or whatever, in order for us to promote our own personal ideas, maybe not make as much merchandising, maybe not have that Netflix deal, maybe they'll get that streaming deal or whatever later, but do the work and know the character and have enough caring about it so that when it does happen, there's going to be a level of quality to it instead of just, you know, if Marvel didn't have Feige up there watching over the properties or before that, Avi Arad or Isaac Perlmutter, who actually had read the IPs and knew what the IPs were about, you'd end up with the same trash crap that you get in the modern comics. Because they've gone through and intentionally hired people who don't know anything about comics. And that's to their detriment. We know about comics. We can go in and say, hey, this is how comics is. We can have these discussions on podcasts all day about what they're doing wrong. But I'm at the point now where I'm like going, well, yeah, you guys keep doing what you need to do. You keep driving those products into the ground. Great, because I've got a product here that I'm going to be bringing out in about 6 months that I want you to look at. Maybe the quality on this will be a little better, and you'll, you know, somebody up there in wherever will take it to an animation house or to a production company or what. I don't know. I just want to do comics. You know.
All right. So,
but yeah, thank goodness Marvel and DC are out there, and it's sad that they've driven all them people away. But I'm real happy to go chasing after them because the people that they drove away, especially in the 90s and the 2000s and the 2010s. All the people have money. They all have wallets. Where the current market is a bunch of kids. The market that they're aiming at are kids who are leaning on their parents who have all the money. I want to talk to their dad. Let me talk to your dad. You know, hey, Dad, remember back when comics were fun? Remember back when you can, you know, where you had funny comics that like the Tick that you actually wanted to read? Well, kid, here's a guy. That's called Guano Guy, you know.
There you go.
I'm using it as an example, Mark. I'm sorry, but I
don't mind.
But that's what you have. That's what you have to look at now. You have to have that understanding and perspective that those guys are out there, literally not caring. You see that you look at that 10 slot thing, and these guys are out in their mobile homes and they're out in their offices knocking on, hey, buddy, knocking on the window. I'm part of the bullpen. Blah, blah, blah. Well, that bullpen doesn't exist anymore. We wish it did. Because back in the 60s, those were some freaking, in 70s and 80s, those were some freaking awesome comics. But nowadays, no. They're just pooping stuff out to poop it out. When's the last great character that come up? There's a big silence. Anybody know out there?
Wait, hold on. Didn't Punchline just recently come out? Isn't that a great character?
Punchline people have enjoyed, but it's literally just a Harley Quinn knockoff.
But how many people
literally
how many people enjoyed Punchline compared to how many people enjoyed Deadpool compared to how many people enjoyed Spider-Man when he was bouncing around and poking fun at people?
Yeah, I was being facetious. You know? I never read anything about that character, and I probably never will.
You have this big steps down, and that's all you're going to see. And these companies out there, and you're not going to see the Marvel and DC come back. It's just going to be more and more erosion. The more stuff that they do that I roll my eyes at and go, ha, cool, you do that. That's great. Go ahead. You know, do that. Well, Wonder Woman's going to be transgender. Cool. Do that. You know, my Wonder Woman, I tell everybody, my superheroes died at Crisis and Heroes Reborn, and they were replaced by soulless zombies. And it's been that, and it's been a worse and worse clone ever since. See, Michael's laughing because he knows. He knows exactly what I'm talking about because that's what happened.
There have been a few exceptions to the rule where you'd have someone that actually gave a shit that would come back, and then DC, like especially when you're looking at DC, they'd go and they'd treat these guys like crap and bring somebody like Bendis in to just fuck it all up all over again.
Don't be mistaken. Those large corporations have always treated their talent like crap. It's been
100%.
That's why you have the Hero Initiative out there desperately trying just to pay these guys medical bills.
Mm-hmm.
and to give them something close to a comfortable retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
These guys have all been out there sweating and breaking their back for the company store, literally.
Mm-hmm.
All they've been doing is paying all of that back in and not getting any return.
Yep.
And now we're out there now with crowdfunding. We're going to be able to make a living. There's already been guys out there that have made more than a living.
Oh, yeah.
And we need to chase those people and figure out what they're doing right, because they're apparently hitting an audience that has wallets and that has money in them. These guys over here, I'm not talking about that, but that's a good example. These guys are the Marvel and DC are out there worried about how many books they're going to move to the library and whether or not they actually want to send a book out to a distribution chain that they've had for 30 years that now they see is run by some overly masculine, fat, old guy that looks like the dude from The Simpsons. That's all. That's exactly how they look at the retailers, and the retailers haven't realized it yet.
Yeah.
The market is dissolving, and our market is growing. And you're going to see the next 5-10 years, like the Wild West, a lot of people out there doing a lot of different things in a lot of different areas and a lot of different formulas. I'm now chasing my tail, looking at these books. We have people up on Indie Vault that are pulling books up for the first time, and I'm like going, holy crap, look at this book. This is amazing. You know, Russ Leach, for example, comes out of nowhere with Only Death Can Save Us. And that book's more than a professional looking. It's an ingenious idea. It's really good. Guano Guy comes out, and it's like, I'm sitting here going, I remember Captain Sprocket. Nobody else probably remembers Captain Sprocket. I remember Captain Klutz. Nobody probably remembers Captain Klutz, but everybody's going to, for the next decade or so, everybody knows the Tick because the Tick's more recent. But everybody's going to eventually know Guano Guy. He just needs to stay out there and keep marketing. Everybody's going to eventually know the Crazies if they stay out there and keep marketing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and keep banging on doors. Every day, there's more people going, what's going on them podcasts? This is the people are talking. What? Who? I found out about a year or so ago. Let me try to get this right. My wife's ex-husband, his brother is listening to EVS like he's Rush Limbaugh. I'm like going, what? You know about the comic market and the direct market, and you've invested in where? This guy's never read comics before.
Mm-hmm.
But he's loving that Cyberfrog, and he's loving to listen to Ethan because he's funny and he's entertaining. He's like the old the Howard Stern or the Tom Likas from a long time ago.
Okay.
You know, there's a market out there. It's a good time to be doing comics, folks, and a great time to be doing alternative and independent comics where you can say what you want to say and do what you want to do and get your viewpoint across and entertain folks and do what, if you want to be out there and entertain folks, it's a great time to be doing comics. And you're going to see so many more people do comics for the next 5-10 years, their own comics, their own independent comics. And you know what? All of these little cogs that are out there, all these cogs that have been out there for years are just now discovering how to do it. You go out there and it's really fun. If you get on these podcasts out there by these big so-called professionals and they're out there talking, and I'm sure you've done this, JD, depending upon who you listen to, they go out there and they go, I never knew you could make this kind of mistake with your printer. What am I going to do? Holy crap. And you're like going, yeah, welcome to 1985, pal. We ran into that back when we were printing on newsprint, dude. Mm-hmm. You know, good luck. Yep. It's been real fun listening to a lot of these guys actually trying to figure out everything that we had to figure out back in the 80s. Mm-hmm. They don't want to talk to us because they were mainstream and they don't, we're just little people to them. We got all this experience out here. Are they tapping us? No, I don't see them tapping us. I don't see him going, Randy, you've been publishing comics since the 1980s. What about this, and this? Mm-hmm. Nobody, and anybody that does, I'm sorry, I'm going to go off on a sidetrack. Anybody that does ask me for advice never listens anyway. When it comes to this market.
Ready? Let me cut in right now. Joe's been real
I'm
patient.
sorry, I get on a soapbox. So
That's all right. That's all right. That's cool. That's what we want.
Joe's
Joe?
sitting there going, he's full of shit.
No. You want to know what I'm thinking?
Just kidding, buddy.
You want to groan about what I'm about to get ready to say, or you going to applaud it?
No, yeah, okay.
Because that's what I'm thinking. Because the question that JD asked, everybody wants to approach it from the creative side. It's like that's the wrong aspect to have when asked that question. You have to look at the business side of things. And one of the things that you have to look at Marvel and DC for is other revenue options and how to get your book into the hands of distributors, into hands of other markets that you may not have thought about as of yet.
But Joe,
yeah,
they haven't thought about getting the books in the hands of any other distributors for the last 30 years.
Well, think about what recently happened now with DC leaving Diamond. And I did a video about this. It's like DC created that Diamond monster and they decided to course correct because of the whole pandemic. And I went back to articles that was written by the owner of Miles High Comics that broke all of that down about how DC changed everything to the direct market, which caused all of that to happen. And I told people, it's like, watch, it's about to open up the doors where we're going to have more distributors. And it's going to allow people like myself to come into these smaller distributors to get our books out there to drugstores and all these other places that nobody would think about, because nobody thinks about where else to put these comic books other than in the hands of brick and mortar stores.
I'm sorry, Joe, but you're thinking that these big corporations actually care about printing.
No, they don't. But the thing about it is that they're losing money and they're going to course correct to try to save whatever profits that they're going to have. So whatever minute move that they make can have a ripple effect to open up doors for other things. Just like how DC opened up the door for distributors. We had people come into Walmart, which is these bigger box stores. Now all of a sudden you got all these smaller entities going into Walmart. Now all of a sudden you have Scholastic trying to do that right now. That wasn't necessarily done by them, but that was done by smaller individuals first. Scholastic got wind of it. They opened up the door a little bit wider for people like us to come into it.
Joe, that's somebody creative at Walmart going, we think we can sell a widget in our shop.
Yeah,
that's not anybody at DC. That's not anybody at Scholastic. Scholastic hit the bookstores with Bone because they already had a small bookstore opportunity already running. But you're thinking that Marvel and DC are going to go out and do something innovative. And
no. I'm not saying that they are. I'm not saying that they are.
That's not going to happen. They're going to quite frankly, they're going to do what Diamond wanted to do to the green section. Ever since Diamond became the sole publisher of or the sole distributor of comics, they're eventually going to dry up and blow away. These companies are getting. You haven't heard the rumors about DC shutting down by June?
No, I've heard all of that.
And before, everybody would just laugh at it and go, that ain't going to happen. No way that's going to happen.
Rumor was from that? Do you know what the other rumor was from that too? If DC as a overall entity shuts down, AT&T was thinking about licensing all those characters out to smaller imprints.
Yeah, because they can make money in licensing. The rumor is
exactly
that's why the only reason why Jim Lee is still up there in the offices is he's working on their style guide, so that they can license it. That's because they just see the funny books as just another licensing opportunity. Marvel's already given up on the grocery stores. They let Archie distribute Marvel comics through the grocery stores in their little digest that they lasted for a year and a half, and then they shut down. There's no longer any Marvel Digest coming out and through there anymore. DC's pretty much given up on Walmart. Well, they really didn't have much of an eye for Walmart to start with. They just they took Joe Blow that was standing in the hallway and made him the reprint editor and had him do put books together or take stuff out of their backlog of material that they had already paid for in order to put the 100 pagers together. And then they got attacked by the angry moms and had to go through and edit everything out in order to censor things down to make everything family friendly. Instead of going back and reprinting the older stuff, they just went through and censored all of Michael Turner's material. He smoothed out the curves and changed Wonder Woman's outfit and all of this in order to try to appease the angry moms. DC doesn't care, and they just got rid of their
don't care.
They just got rid of their YA dude. They just got rid of their YA editor. Because I'm sure they just saw those beans, what few beans that they moved through those box stores with the returns that just come back, and she was out the door.
And that has always been the argument for the longest time, because the whole thing that they look at now, if it's not selling 25,000 units a month, it's not worth it for them.
Yeah, well, it's like
speed to grow. You can't bet from a first issue.
They just crippled their primary digital window, or a window or platform that they were trying to build up as their primary digital window, because they moved all the live action stuff over to HBO Max. DC Universe is now going to sit there and flounder. So where is that going to leave them? Comixology? Comixology is owned by Amazon.
Their license with Comixology is about to come to an end, because I'm there right now, and I'm seeing less and less offerings from them now.
Well, that's because they're kicking out less and less books, because they're starting to care less and less, and they're brooming everybody up in the office. If you listen to the rumors, the intern of the associate of the assistant is now the editor up there, and they don't know that they don't know practically what to do. All of the marketing people, all the people that were up there that were trying or really trying and fighting with the executives in order to justify the expenses, trying to bump into a different format, they're all gone now. So, good luck, DC. They're going to try a 5G program with a bunch of poorly redesigned IPs.
Oh, that got canned already.
Yeah.
Did it?
That got canned. That got canned.
It did and it didn't. Hold on. So 5G technically got canned. Everything that was 5G has been repurposed for Future State as a limited event. So it did get canned, but it did. All of the stuff that they were talking about promoting with 5G has been repurposed for Future State. It's all there. All of it is. And Future State is still happening.
And Palin had a great expression. Now. Palin had a great expression for that. That's putting lipstick on a pig.
Exactly.
Same
thing with the horror about New Warriors too, on Marvel side.
And in the meantime, they can't cancel and put into turnaround a New Gods movie that's going to be a sheer disaster. That you keep hearing every other month that there's some new advancement on that movie, and I'm like, haven't they turned that movie? Haven't they put that movie into turnaround yet? Because that's going to be a disastrous film.
Kathy Bates just got cast as Granny Goodness.
Oh no, that's just rumor. Believe me, there've been no firm castings yet, because there's no firm book or there's no firm movie going on. Just a lot of people talking.
I don't doubt it with Tom King writing the script and about everything.
To be quite honest.
Hopefully they'll just quietly let it fade away, because if they ever do get close to bringing it out, Kirby's going to spin in his grave.
I don't doubt it, especially with Tom King writing. That estate's got to be screaming. The Kirby estate's got to be crying.
It's just going to be a little depressing. That's all. It's going to be a little sad. It's just a little depressing. That's all. But it's Tom King, so we have to, understand where we're at.
Just critical failure. There's going to be critical failure, and then there's going to be that movie sitting way up there. That's how different. That's how it's going to be.
And you don't need a 40-year-old white dude to tell you what's wrong with A Wrinkle in Time.
Exactly.
You really don't. All you got to do is sit and watch that movie.
I think that's one of those books that's just unadaptable as well. But no. I don't know.
Have you read that? At least not last time you read that book.
It's been a while, but I really no. It's a fantastic book.
Don't read it now after you've seen the movie. You'll just cry.
Oh, I know the movie's horrible. I didn't even. I saw one trailer and I was like, "That's not Wrinkle in Time."
They can't even do Wizard of Oz, dude. They got to sit down and figure out how to do that first before they can take on something that's actually got some deep scientific theory in it. The Wizard of Oz at least has deep political theory in it that they still can't wrap their head around.
Mhm.
That one of these days you're going to see somebody adapt Land of Oz, and people are going to sit there stunned and go, "That book's been around since the 1920s? Holy crap!"
It's not a theory book.
Baum was a genius. Just like Lewis Carroll when he wrote Wonderland. It's a beautiful piece of satire parody. So is all of the Oz books, and they just can't. They want to have people skipping and dancing down yellow brick roads singing songs. That's the vision that's in everybody's mind now, because that's what they're trained to think.
So Odin,
Just like you're not going to have a good
man.
aspect of 1984 Animal Farm. Those books will never get a decent movie.
I think you saw a good animated Animal Farm, and the
I was about to say, Animal Farm did get a good adaptation. It had like a mixed media adaptation back in the 80s that's actually very solid.
And I think
the 1984 film's fine.
Yeah, the John Hurt movie is about as close as you're ever going to see to that book.
Yeah,
1984. Yeah.
Oh man, to follow all this up. Like, honestly, the moment that this question got asked was like, if I go after Randy, there's like nothing that's going to be said.
Oh, sorry.
No, I wasn't going after Randy, but I just know how I felt about it, because I only look at the business trends that they do and see what doors could open up from there.
Tomorrow there could be a miracle, and somebody up at DC or Marvel might actually give a shit. But I don't see that happening.
That's not happening.
No, it's not happening anytime soon. Again, it's not Marvel or DC. Period. It's like I don't see AT&T say, "Oh, we got to care about this entity over here." AT&T is not going to say that. Disney's not going to say that.
I wish they would care about making money, because then, I can give them my phone number and tell them how to make money in this business if they wanted to, but they're not going to listen to me. Nobody listens to me.
So I think Mark wanted to say something. What do you want to say?
I listened to you, Randy. In fact, that was actually one of the most useful talks that I've ever had. As I went to Randy for advice about some stuff, and that's actually what ended up happening with my Kickstarter, was because of the advice that Randy gave me. The man's a genius wealth of knowledge. My
face is getting red.
Give Mark a shot, because I think he has to do a National Lampoon's movie real quick.
Mark
Mark
has to say something, guys.
We're gonna walk the park, look at Christmas lights.
He has to do what is his name? Griswold.
Yeah.
Everybody
already did Christmas Vacation. Wait until you see my Christmas movie, if I ever make it.
Oh God!
I got it. I know exactly what to do. It wouldn't be PC by any stretch of the imagination, but
of course not.
I got a great Christmas movie in me.
Guys, hold on, Mark. What were you gonna say?
Sorry.
I was gonna say I've been trying to say I gotta take off.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry, Mark.
Family stuff. I just want to say goodbye and not just click.
I get so jabbery. I'm sorry.
So do me a favor and let everybody know where they can find you and your work.
Oh yeah, so Mark Darden, you can find the Guano Guy on Facebook. You can either look up me, Mark Darden, or look up the Guano Guy if you just want to follow the comic. Either way, click. I'm doing posts there. Big Cartel got the books up there, so in case you missed the Kickstarter, you can pick up Guano Guy, Big Cartel. The next Guano Guy comic's not till March, so I'll start announcing that in January. But March will be the next big book.
Awesome.
And then there's this other big indie project that I think is going to be huge that I'm working on. I'm one of the people working on it, and I can't wait to be able to tell people about it, really. But it's coming.
Not another anthology, is it?
Oh, this is something big.
That turns my stomach.
Yeah, no, it's much different than that. Yeah.
Darn NDAs.
Looking forward to it.
So anyway, thank you for having me on. Some good info tonight, and I definitely look forward to coming back and talking with you guys again. Randy, good to see you again.
Yeah, Mark, good to see you. One of these days, I've been trying to cut some time where I can sit down and read your comics. I got them sitting next to my big easy chair up in the living room. And I just told the wife today, I'm going to have to take a day out and just read everybody's books that I've been getting lately, because I have a stack of stuff that I need to read.
If you jump in Guano Guy number 2, there's 20 pages of short stories. You could knock out little 3-page stories, and even if you got a minute of time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Mark. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you so much, everybody.
All right.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna put this up here. Somebody asked us, any thoughts on manga?
I actually have a lot of thoughts on manga, but
So do I. just give me a
What
second.
about it?
All right, so
What about it?
I don't even remember what. Randy, do you remember the year they first started showing? Like, remember Area 88? Mia, the psychic girl, came out of Eclipse, right? And that was
I think that was the 90s. I was into anime before that. I've got old VHS copies of The Professional and My Youth in Arcadia. My Youth in Arcadia. How amazing. Captain Harlock. Yeah.
I don't know if you remember Lensman.
Galaxy, when Cinemax started, Galaxy Express 9.99 was all over it. We used to have a video, a movie channel called Spotlight that would go out and grab these esoteric movies from all over the world and show them. And Galaxy Express was one of those. It just sit there, just transfixed about this train traveling through space. Just amazing, really. And then that's how I found Miyazaki and Warriors of the Wind. The really bad, I think it was Wes Craven did that on VHS, and how that prompted me to go back and dig up the mangas that Viz, I think, printed. They printed all of the Nausicaas.
Yeah, maybe it's a little bit of nostalgia for me, but I actually like Nausicaa, the Warriors of the Wind, the original one.
Yeah.
I like the voice acting.
Okay.
Because I actually like it better than the new ones. And the new ones are really good. Like they got a lot of really good people to do it, but I actually liked that original one. But I haven't seen it in a long time, so I don't know if it holds up.
Yeah, you probably
I have
need
it on VHS somewhere.
Yeah, good luck firing up that old VHS player and plugging it into an old TV set and sitting there and watching.
No, I do have a question.
They're all available on HBO Max. They have all the old Miyazaki films.
No, but they wouldn't have this. This is
Nausicaa Valley of the Wind?
No. This was Warriors of the Wind.
Yeah, Warriors of the Wind.
This was like the original cut of the movie, because they cut out some things, and Miyazaki wasn't very happy about it
at all.
At all. And I remember one of the things was the guy who, I don't know who did the direction of the producer or whatever, but I remember one thing they said was they had gotten the voice actors were actually stage actors from New York. So they were Broadway stage actors.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons why. Yeah, that's why they were so good at it. But it's one of those things. But I mean, for me, the reason I asked that is because I remember one time there was a list of items that came out that it was said that the Japanese specifically targeted to take over in America. Very specific businesses. And one of them was comic books. And it's interesting to see that like 30 years later, they did it. Because they outsell comics, by a good margin,
And that
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
That really just goes into what I was going to say about mangas. I think that if you are looking to really get into this industry and everything and really be successful and set yourself apart, you cannot be looking at the Western market. You need to be looking at manga, because the way that they handle everything over there is tremendous, and it sells better. Like and they create massive loyalties. You have, obviously the big ones that people know about, with like Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, One Piece, and everything like that. But you have things like Berserk too, with followings that stretch back to the late 80s, and that's the kind of devotion that they get from their fan base. And Western market just doesn't have it anymore.
Well, and like what JD said, they wanted to come in and break into this market, and they did it very successfully.
Yes.
But that, again, the reason that they did that was because animation was just like Marvel and DC. They weren't looking. They didn't care. They were catering to the same market that they had always dealt with over and over and over again. And when manga really hit large with Viz and the Tokyo Pop and that, they weren't catering to the same market that Marvel and DC was catering to. They very intelligently went for a younger and a more skewed female audience.
Mm-hmm.
And they literally took that market that Marvel and DC just were scoffing at for so many years, because Diamond was telling them that they had their demographics together. And there was a long time there where Marvel and DC realized that their primary customer was that retailer. It wasn't the customer, it wasn't the reader, it was the retailer. That's who they sold to. That's why you saw all the gimmick and stuff come out, and all of these crazy, stupid, long event comics come. Well, hey, you got to order all of these books in order for you to have the entire story. You know, that was intentional in order to sell to the retailer. They were out to drain the retailer of as much money as they possibly could, and that in turn crippled the alternative and independent market, because the retailers' purse strings only went so far, and everybody. You know, everybody's so not old enough to remember what the times were before Image, but Image, despite what a lot of folks want to believe, really crippled this market.
Thank you.
They really they stuck their foot out and they tripped every freaking retailer out there to fall flat on their face with a bunch. And granted, the black and whites were already abusing the market. There were certain companies out there that were badly abusing the market, but there were other companies out there that were doing some really incredible things.
We're not talking about Solson and Blackthorn, are we?
Yes, we are. And there were other companies too, but you had Chainsaw Santa and the whatever stupid idea they possibly could print in black and white, because back then, because of Turtles, you could print anything on newsprint and you're going to sell at least 3,000. Lord knows, when we were Arrow Comics, we tried a set of I think it was 4 books that all we did was throw an ad in the distributor catalog, called ourselves something entirely different, jacked the price up on the cover price on the book, and we still sold 3,000 units of each title. You know, we did and we did. They were bad books, but we decided not to do it because we were making more money as Arrow Comics at the time. And we had better pride in our work than we could have been Solson or Blackthorn. Blackthorn, at least, they went out and grabbed a bunch of oddball reprints, even though they were done badly. But Solson did a lot of crap books. You know, Blackthorn did their share too, but Solson did a lot of crap books.
Solson, though, produced the book that really helped me the most, though, in comics. Okay. He produced Sal Brodsky. Was that him?
Mm-hmm.
He produced a book. It was How to Publish Comics.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that book. That was a really good resource. I learned a lot from that book.
First, you buy a 4-pack from your local grocery store of your favorite TP. That was the first lesson. No, just kidding.
Well, because the thing is it listed all the distributors, right? And it taught you, the one key thing that it taught me was, what was it called? 3 and 10 or 2 and 10, right? 2 and 10 was a thing within the industry. Like if you were dealing with a distributor, you say, listen, if you can get me my check within the next 10 days, I'll give you 2% off.
Yeah.
Off that voice. Yeah. I would hear people screaming and yelling, say, man, I'm not getting my diamond check. I would always get mine. I was like 2 and 10, don't worry about it. I would always get my diamond check like this. You know, and then, like I said, I mean, I thought, for me, like, I was young, so I didn't know, you know, what to do or how to do it. I was like, I think it was 17 when I started really doing the research.
Old style business savvy.
Right. And I was like, but that book helped, you know, because
you still have that. You still have that book?
Somewhere, yes, but I still got.
Yeah, when you find it, you should scan it and put it up online.
Yes.
Oh, yeah?
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
Just to show folks what it was like back in the 80s. When you do, or if you do scan it, send me a copy, will you?
Okay. Yeah. I do.
I'd love to read it
somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you know, so Sam, do you have any thoughts on manga?
No.
That's terrible, Sam. What's wrong with you? Where have you been? No. It's all about the mangas.
No. I wasn't a big collector of any manga. I love anime. But no, I never collected it.
Okay, gotcha.
I stopped collecting manga when most of it had to be read in reverse because I couldn't do it.
And I just really never got into it once they was hitting bookstores, because it was just easier for me to get some of the older stuff that I like than the newer stuff that they have at $15 a pop.
Well, I would teach cartooning after school, and there would be a growing population of young girls that were in the class. They were very interested. Some of them were incredibly well gifted in art that drew anime material. And I got to show you. I'm watching them trying to handle a regular textbook, and they're going.
That's funny.
You know, and then that's when I started going, well, all of this backwards reading from manga is really screwing with the heads of the intuition of how to read a book for the kid. Eventually, they're just going to go books. You know, I'll just sit and watch the anime.
Now, it's funny because, you know, we obviously read left to right, right? Does anyone?
They read right to left. They read right to left. So it's a cultural thing.
The way that
that whole cultural thing is a different movement altogether. And what's weird is that stuff that I like when I was growing up, and I know Randy would probably know about a lot of this stuff, because if I mention stuff like Battleship Yamada, the kids nowadays have no idea what that is.
No,
I always thought it was Yamato.
The Americanized version of it as Star Blazers.
Yep, Star
But
Blazers.
the original was called Battleship Yamada. Yeah. Macross, we had it over here as Robotech.
Yeah,
and Robotech. I remember those Comico books and everything. Gotchaman, we got it as Sandy Franks Presents Battle of the Planets when I was young, and then it got changed to G-Force, and it got all these different names and everything.
Yeah.
See, like I said, his first exposure, but even before that, I got exposed to things like Wicked City, Fist of the North Star. What was it called? Venus Wars.
Gotchaman actually woke me up to the idea that a yo-yo could be used as a weapon.
That's true.
And there was nothing cooler than Speed Racer's little bird that would pop out of the Mach 5 and fly around.
The messenger pigeon. Yeah.
It's a drone. It's a drone nowadays. It's just it's all everything that he had on that machine, other than the twirling buzzsaws, but I'm sure that could be manufactured. Are all just that's all just old hat anymore.
Hey, but, listen.
I too wanted a car where you could hit a button on the where the horn goes. And have something cool happen.
Car that was a submarine, if people really thought about it in animated format.
I think that might have been the same time as Stingray was out. I don't know.
I think so.
From in Super Marionation. So
but
see, I'm not that old, but I remember Speed Racer. I don't remember Stingray all that much. Just like I barely remember the Thunderbirds.
Okay.
I used to watch.
I barely remember Clutch Cargo.
Oof, Clutch. Oh, Jesus.
I love showing kids today in my cartooning class. We'll pull up YouTube, and I pull up Clutch Cargo and Space Angel, and freak them out. They'd sit there and go, well, people used to watch this.
Yeah.
What? It's like, oh yeah, we used to get up early Saturday morning and sit down and watch these. These were awesome. Yeah.
I used to watch Raideen in Spanish at midnight because that's the only time it was ever shown, and it was only in Spanish. I never caught it in English.
Yeah,
and that's how I became familiar with the character. Yeah, you know, he was one of the Shogun Warriors. Remember the Shogun Warriors from Marvel?
Oh yeah. There used to be an anime like a 3 or 5 part or 5 series that they just jammed together into one package. And Monday would be one show, Tuesday would be the next show, Wednesday would be Space Gateers, and I think Mazinga Z was part of that. I think, I don't know. It's been a long time since I seen it. Something that really impressed me though when it came to manga and anime was Golgo 13, when they started really the professional, when they really started pressing. You could really see that they were doing anime for everybody. I mean, for specific demographics, but it was all over the map. Here's an older person's. Here's like James Bond. Here's, you know, a young kiddie show. Here's something in between. That's what really opened my eyes up to and made me disgusted, quite frankly, at American animation, because we didn't have anything on the same level as the heavy metal movie for many years. You know,
Remember doing this?
We really still don't much. What? Had to wake up at 5 a.m. on Sundays. Just to see Robotech. Yeah. For me, though, I still remember.
Actually, that used to come on after school after a while for where I was at.
Everybody's place was different. I remember watching the really badly done Marvel cartoons, the Captain America Submariner.
Oh yes, the slide in, slide out animation. Yeah.
It's everything you see in Flash animation. But you go back and look at those now, and you realize all they did was cut up comics.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
just move them around.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
You know. But they kept the stories, which was awesome, you know.
Mm-hmm. What I find wild is that
Uh-oh.
Kirby predicted these things or smartphones.
Yeah.
Because I look at it as a precursor. You know, the mother boxes, you know, you see them talking to, and it's just like us. We're idiots looking at our phones. We can't even walk down a block without it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So
and that was the mother box.
Well, Kirby was a big science fiction fan, so he was always a forward thinker anyway. That's why his stuff was so crazy and imaginative. You sit there and you read the stuff and think that, you know, what the hell were you on when you did this?
He was also
amazing.
He was also a veteran of World War II, and by that point, we were starting to really get out those handheld radios that you could go and do transmissions across battlefields and everything, and stay in contact with everyone.
Well, they figure that a lot of his brain wiring is a result of the PTSD that he had from World War II, because he was in such the deep shit.
Yeah.
Quite a few times during World War II. I mean, and there were times he was behind enemy lines, you know, and about to go at it, and he saw his life flash in front of his eyes more times than any human should ever be allowed.
Yeah.
So
What's
it's really
Mr. Odin, the one thing that you also have to realize, also in World War II, Motorola did come out with the very first cell phone for the military. Mm-hmm. So he knew about the technology. He had the technology. He used it. So it's not foreign to him. To everybody else, it was.
He was able to envision the next steps beyond that too. Mm-hmm. But that mother box was amazing, especially when you look at the smartphone now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's right there. You might as well put the 3 circles on.
Yeah. The only thing we really needed to do is make us that boom tube. If I can have that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Well, they've been trying to work on that for a while. So try to teleport people. So yeah, good luck. There's going to be a lot of failed experiments on that before they perfect it.
Oh yeah.
Nobody has ever perfected quantum physics as of yet.
Well, you got to prove it first. It's like trying to prove or trying to be able to time travel without explaining the practicalities of it. Just won't work.
What is it? Somebody was saying
the mighty robots were fun. I think he meant mighty Orbots. Yeah, that's what I said, mighty Orbots. Yeah,
Orbots, GoBots.
Yeah. Well, the Orbots.
Nobody mentioned my favorite, which was Lupin the Third. That's my favorite anime series of all time. And it's like ever since we got Castle of Cagliostro, it's awfully hard to go back to look at the other movies that either came before it or came after it, because that was the critically acclaimed motion picture that had Lupin the Third.
That was Miyazaki too. That set up Studio Ghibli, I think, for the rest of their careers. You saw, did the new version of Castle of Cagliostro ever come out?
I think they did a remaster and they changed some things, but not recently. I haven't seen that recently.
Have you seen the trailer for that?
I have seen the trailer for the new 3D one that they was coming out that had nothing to do with Castle of Cagliostro. It was supposed to be a brand new Lupin adventure.
Oh, well, there was a lot of scenes in there that they had taken from Miyazaki
Castle of Cagliostro, yeah. But did you see the trailer that had the death trap that he got out of?
Mm-mm.
That was well animated for 3D, but it still didn't hold a candle to what they used to do.
I thought that
I think they need to I get that they're trying to crank as many of these out as possible, and they're 3D. The 3D animation is easier. You don't need as large of a staff, what have you. But like, if anything should serve as a demo of like, this is why you don't just rely on 3D, you idiot. Go back to 2D traditional. It's the travesty that was Berserk 2016. Okay.
I can't say I've ever seen it.
Oh man, they did like it.
Was that the?
There was a whole. That's the 3D one that looks like absolute garbage.
Was that the three movies though? They have like three separate.
So that was the precursor. It was done by the same studio that did 2016, and they did that as a kind of way to refresh people on what like the golden age was in Berserk, because that's the prequel storyline. But then 2016 went and adapted Black Swordsman.
Sam,
allegedly.
You're looking a little tired.
No, I just sent the message. I'm about to bounce. I'm gonna head out.
Yeah. You're welcome on Indie Volt anytime. I've sent you a couple of links in the past. Whenever I do that, you're more than welcome to jump in.
Definitely. Every time I got it, I was always at work. So
I figured there was something, or you'd be jumping in. But we definitely need to coordinate a time when you can be on the show.
Definitely.
Again, is your campaign done?
Oh yeah. We made our goal. And
awesome.
now the books are in at the press, and we're expecting the books to land this week in my house, and I got to start packing everything and start shipping it out to the pledgers. So we're actually
get that fun experience of packing.
Packing
and shipping. Yeah,
everyone was supposed to get it in February, but they're gonna get it in time for Christmas, which is cool.
There you go. Awesome. That's what you call service. That's what you call service, my friend. That's good.
Yes.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, so I'll catch you guys.
All right,
let us know where you're located, bro. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Catch the Craze. So it's on YouTube. Catch the Craze with a DA, not a THE. Anywhere, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, wherever it is, it's Catch the Craze. Or you can visit crazycomics.com. That's 2 E's, not a Y, for updates on our books and all that other good stuff.
All right.
Peace.
Thanks, Sam. Yo,
Peace.
I'll talk to you soon.
You got
Take care, Sam. Always good to see you, bud.
You got it.
Peace.
Good. Keep those crazies running. I just got word from Mike DeSantis, who runs the Great Lakes Con here in Lower Michigan, that he plans on absolutely no shows for 2021.
Wow.
Oh wow.
None. He's done.
Wow.
He's not going to do nothing until 2022.
Wow.
He would set up at Macomb College and put on a phenomenal 2.5-day show, late Friday, all day Saturday and Sunday. It's a good show, but not this year, or not next year either.
But you've done several shows out there. I mean, what are your thoughts on next year? I mean, as far as like you doing a show.
I'm not holding my breath, waiting for anything, because I do shows in farmers markets. That's where my shows were, where we'd have people come in, and my shows were always in smaller spaces, in a community room, half the atrium, or the show I held in Saginaw was in their banquet hall that was on the second story of the market. But we were literally shoulder to shoulder at that show, and we were having people. We still had a line of people coming through the door at 2:00 in the afternoon. And we did really good at that show. Everybody did really good. Everybody had a good time, but we were literally like pinballs bumping into each other shoulder to shoulder, trying to get around there. It was a crazy time. We're not going to be able to do that now in the age of social distancing. So that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that and maybe I shouldn't even be saying this on the air. Do you know how many people are listening?
Not that many.
Not that many. I'm hoping. I was just out at one of our local casinos today, and not that local, about an hour and a half away from me. And was because they have had a couple of shows at the casino, a couple of comic shows.
Oh, okay.
That were really. Well, I can't really say that they were successful, but they were fun. That could become incredibly successful with the right marketing.
Right.
And I'm sitting here going, I wonder if those guys are still doing that show here. So, but that's I'm not really planning. I've got one show in March that's coming up at a mall that I'm hoping I get to go to in Midland. And other than that, my other shows were with Mike, and that's done. I sincerely doubt, unless the bug gets improved really fast, that there'll be a Motor City this year. I would also expect there not to be any large show of any decent size or proportion until, that well into after everybody getting the vaccine.
Right.
So 2021 could really be shot as far as conventions go. But all the more reason for us to be doing this. So
Yeah.
So Joe, how's it looking in Chicago as far as shows?
Reed Exhibitions sent me notification last month. C2E2 2021 December. And I'm not even and I'm still like, I don't see December, depending on really about the vaccine and whatnot, and how many people get vaccinated and how fast they get it to people.
They're hoping
far up in the air.
Yeah, they're hoping that enough time goes by that it's okay by then. But then I was hoping that enough time would go by that it'd be okay by last April, and it didn't happen.
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and with the way people just seem to be dragging this stuff on, I'm not sure if there has to be a level of herd immunity or if there actually has to be a vaccine anymore. Because I haven't known more people affected by the bug than I have the last month or so of people, and not just affected, but to the point of being in the hospital or being incredibly sick. So it's kind of weird to go, well, the first round was nothing compared to this, Yes. And yet they're passing around a petition now to recall our governor because she's just decimated the economy up here with all of the restrictions.
Yeah, but until things change, until people start getting better, there's been a lot of deaths, and that's just going to continue. But it's a little gloomy. So
sorry,
Michael,
yes,
Michael, your part. Michael, actually, what part of the country are you in?
I'm in the DC metro area, so nothing is happening.
Okay.
This year.
Yeah, I'm in New York, so I'm in New York City, so nothing's happening either. Yeah.
All the important people have already received the vaccine back in May and June, but they just don't want to tell you. So.
Yeah, probably not. Probably the case, Randy.
Just kidding. Just
jumping
at that conspiracy.
Now to answer the other thing about people who throwing conventions, all these smaller towns are still doing these comic book conventions, and it makes me worry.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to see a lot of one-day. I think you're going to see a lot of one-day shows before you see the big extravaganza, big crowded show again.
And even with the small shows, I'm still leery of them because there's no way to regulate certain things. It's just,
well, that's life.
It's the Wild West. It's going to be the Wild West. It's like
that's life in general. It's like up here, they shut down anything that was fun, but the casinos that are on native land all said, we've done our research, and we haven't had any cases up here, so we're going to stay open. So they told the state to go fly, and yet you have bars up here that have sworn that they have to open because they're about ready to file for bankruptcy, and the state's threatened them to pull their liquor license if they don't toe the line.
That's what they're doing here.
Yeah,
that's what they're really doing here. It's like you have restaurants that just outright defying, and we're people like me. It's like, why isn't carry out an option for you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yet on the other hand, we had a barber in Owasso, that's a real small town, that defied the order the first time through and basically said, I'm going to stay here and make a living. He's an old curmudgeon of a dude that just decided he was going to stay open. And they threatened him and tried to shut him down and tried to get him tossed and have his business license revoked or his barber's license or whatever. They haven't been able to do it. They weren't able to do it. So this time when the restrictions went through, amazingly, all the barbershops and salons were able to stay open by appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here's one. What do you guys think about virtual cons they did this year?
Most of them were garbage.
Yeah, no, I was about to say the only one that impressed me even a little bit was the DC Fandom event. I think it was the most well orchestrated of those online conventions, and even that wasn't great.
And all of those people that coordinated that were sacked on the second round from DC.
Correct.
All right, guys.
Thanks for your service. There's the door. Thanks for your service. There's the door.
I still feel that was garbage because, again, when you think about conventions, you have to have interaction. There was no true interaction between the people that they have presenting and the fans. All of this stuff is like things that they could have just did videos on and put it out there on YouTube for people to watch. There was nothing exciting to get people animated about to come and talk to X, Y, and Z for minutes and hours at a time to get, to feel like they are part of something. The only virtual con that I felt that had potential and did not get anybody there was the whole thing that Sean did over this past weekend, and he actually found a format that allowed that interaction to happen, and nobody knew about it. He got literally no one there. You have vendors sitting there that's just like, where's the people at?
Well, a lot of it's gonna be this, a lot of the next year. We have that opportunity now to go out and become the mainstream, literally. And you can get comics mailed to your door now. You don't have to go to a retail shop. You can get comics mailed to your door. If you need an old comic, you've got Mile High and special order shops and all this. The retailers who had a rough time surviving before the bug, relying on Magic and Funko Pops, are really going to have a rough time now. Especially when one of their main companies is close to belly up, and the other one, who never gave a shit about them in the first place, I might add, is going to give even less of a crap about them because they're all white toxic males running them retail shops. Mostly white, mostly all male, and overweight, looking like that guy from The Simpsons. And that's what they say, dude. It's you go back on some of the Marvel videos that they've done. That's exactly how they think what they think about the retailers. They're just, that's our real. That's not our real. Our real markets, the young kids in those libraries. That's who our kids are. Well, guess what? There's only 1,900 libraries.
They're going to find a way.
And they only want one or two of your book, period. And then they don't resell it. It sits there in the library or somebody steals it.
And Randy, would you say that tabletop gaming can't save them either?
Tabletop gaming would never save them.
That's what they're counting on right now because that's the only lifeblood that they have to stay open.
Magic can't save them. I think you're going to see a big revolution
save them. Dungeons and Dragons can't save them.
You're seeing a hardcore revolution going on right now as far as all of this entertainment goes, because these large conglomerates are aiming for an audience that is very minuscule and not there, or doesn't want to spend any money. I mean, they're happy to spend $10 and get the streaming service. That's cool. But they get a whole large package for that. So how soon is that budget going to reflect the production quality of the work? It's amazing. A Mandalorian is phenomenal. Dude, I'm sitting there watching Mandalorian and just drooling every freaking episode going, this is so pretty. It's the only show out there right now that's new that I'm looking forward to every freaking week, where Friday, the wife goes to work at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And as soon as she's off to work, I'm in front of that TV because Mandalorian's got a new episode out.
How do you feel about Grogu?
What, Grogu? He's cool.
Well, the name. Is it a lot of people just been losing it over that name? And I'm like, it's a name. We have two
names a name. The cool thing is that Ahsoka, they had Ahsoka give it out. Ahsoka was awesome to see, even though the whole freaking episode was way too dark, that you really couldn't see her, And they just said, I think it was yesterday, they said, well, when she was in the end of Rebels, that might not have happened yet as far as the Mandalorian timeline goes. And you go, oh, that's kind of interesting. So she could still be out there looking for, I'm sorry, we didn't mean to jump over to the Mandalorian, but the whole timeline, the whole timeline thing is amazing. What they're doing on Mandalorian is great, but majority of that is in front of green screens, and they're still doing their social distancing and stuff. But a lot of these other companies
also built practical sets, which is why it's so good.
well, CW apparently has made their own compounds. One up in Vancouver and one in Atlanta, and I guess the Atlanta compound is probably not going to survive after this year because they're canning Black Lightning and they're not sure about what they're going to do with Stargirl. Everything else is up in
And that's the
Vancouver.
sad thing that they came Black Lightning, but I understand why they're doing it. I get why they're doing it.
Well, they back their butts in a corner writing wise on Black Lightning. They never should have done. You know, with some of the stuff they did on the show was interesting, but Black Lightning should be integrated. Should be a hard part of should have always been a hard part of the Arrowverse.
You see, exactly. That's exactly what I said. It's like they did not make it a part of Arrowverse until the crisis.
Yep.
And it was way too late at that point. Nobody cared.
And it's like, hey, kids, we're bringing all of these issues. At least they weren't like DC when they did Crisis, when they brought everything together and made one solid mess of a convoluted timeline. And then eventually, over 20 years or so, decide maybe we should do a alternate dimension type multiverse thing. They did Crisis because they were afraid they were confusing everybody doing Earth 2 stories, which is like, no, you weren't. You weren't. All you needed to do was make a paragraph at the top of the book and maybe a separate icon on the cover to show it was an Earth 2 book instead of an Earth 1 book. And then you have two different storylines, because All-Star Comics, I was a big fan of that book when they brought Huntress in and Power Girl and all of that. That was an awesome concept. But we got to condense all of this down to one storyline because we're confusing the readers. It's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. And now, you're seeing the movies do exactly the opposite and burst everything out into multiverses. But, on CW, though, on the CW, you had that Crisis where they brought the Ray in. Disgustingly, it was only the Ray, because they should have brought in a bunch of the other Freedom Fighter characters. But everybody on the CW in the Arrowverse now knows that there's a dimension out there that the Nazis won. Are they going to let that? Are they going to let that sit there? I guess they are.
Well,
actually, technically, in the Arrowverse version of the Crisis, that's gone away because it's been destroyed. It's been wiped out.
Well, now it has,
Well, and so this is the other thing is that Randy had mentioned it with they're trying to figure out what they're doing. So DC is pivoting all of their TV efforts into HBO Max.
Yeah.
Like they are going to keep a few shows on CW so it doesn't look like they have completely abandoned it. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you right now, they've already announced the Black Lightning's being canceled. I guarantee you the next one that'll be axed is Legends of Tomorrow. If this Batwoman revamp season does poorly, it's getting axed. If Superman and Lois does poorly, it's getting axed. And The Flash will be the last show that gets axed because people have nostalgia from when it was good in the first two seasons.
Yeah, you're probably right.
They still haven't reconciled everything that happened in Flashpoint. That's the only reason why it's still going.
Yeah.
Well,
I think you're right too.
How's Doom Patrol?
Doom Patrol's phenomenal.
I have
Doom
not
Patrol's
watched that.
amazing.
I've heard good things about that.
Oh my God.
Good things.
Doom Patrol is one of my favorite superhero TV shows, live action, ever. It's good.
And I'm a big Doom Patrol fan from the comic books, from the original My Greatest Adventures, from My Greatest Adventures. I believe it was like 78 or something like that when they first got introduced to the last Niles Calder team before the evil one took over. And you guys know who he is.
Until he was replaced by his Nazi clone. Yeah. Yeah, we all know.
Like they just completely steer into the weird, and they just have a fun time with it. And the second, I was worried going into season 2. I was like, man, how are they going to top this first season? And sure enough, the second season was even better. I actually, so apparently Dan Fraga worked on the second season as a storyboard.
Yeah,
guy.
I think he did. Yeah.
And just tremendous work on that show. It's really good. Stargirl was even really fun. It's definitely got its target audience.
Right.
But it's an enjoyable show, and it's fun to watch.
I don't know. I loved it, and I've got a when they first announced they were going to do it, I'm like, nah, because I haven't read any of the recent Stargirl or the Justice Society books, because they just got nasty and convoluted, and like I said, all my heroes have been replaced by soulless zombies. But I love the old Justice Society characters. But that show was fun.
Yeah,
you can just sit there. Of course, it took a lot of brain check about Nebraska, and they're all of the heroes and villains have suddenly just decided to congregate there for whatever reason. Don't think about any of those shows too deeply, or they'll fall apart. But it was interesting to see counterparts for the Justice Society brought forward.
I also appreciated the fact that they had balls with some of their storytelling. The stuff that was going on with the new version of Wildcat, I was shocked there was not outrage for any cultural insensitivity or anything like that, because it was
so they overrode what they did in Arrow with Wildcat then.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No,
and so it's
this is on another universe, because they shut the multiverse down, but they opened the multiverse.
Yeah.
Wait. So in other words, the CW crisis never
completely worthless
in Stargirl.
Well, they took all of those cards that were on the table, and shuffled them all into one deck. The problem is that there's now more cards on the table.
Yeah.
Don't try to explain it. Just understand all of those worlds got unified, but the multiverse still exists.
Yeah. So I actually got to roll out, but before I do go,
it was all Oliver Queen's fault.
Yeah. But before I do go and do my closeout and everything, the whole plan is to effectively just do as much premium TV content on HBO Max as humanly possible. The big things on the table right now are, pending the success of the Snyder Cut, you'll see Ben Affleck's solo Batman movie that he was going to do with Deathstroke is going to get turned into an HBO Max series. You're going to see all of these things start to come out, and you're going to see these HBO Max series with high budgets focusing on these IPs and tying into films. And we're already seeing it.
They're going to throw Wonder Woman 1984 on HBO Max now. Whether or not they're going to charge a premium price for it might be a different.
They aren't. It's literally, if you have HBO Max, the streaming service, you get it the same day it releases in theaters, which I think is a very good strategy.
Do you get it for free, or do you have to pay for it?
You get it for free. It's a part of you being in on their subscription.
Yeah, see, that's a great encouragement for people to sign up to Max.
Exactly, and that's what they're doing. Is that it's the same thing with the Snyder Cut? You're not going to have to pay for Snyder Cut. All you do is you get your HBO Max subscription service. And in fact, if you signed up during the DC Fandom event, you got an executive producer T-shirt from the crew, and I think that they're actually going to incorporate those people's names in the credits too. So that it's actually, that part of it's really smart and how they're handling it. AT&T recognizes that while those films might not have been commercially well received or critically well received, it has a very loyal and devoted fan base.
Yeah.
And so they're willing to give that a chance. And so if that Snyder Justice League does well enough, they're going to greenlight him for sequels. That's why they're doing these new reshoots to add material that will set up for potential new films.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll see things like Ben's Batman getting a solo project. Henry Cavill is pretty much all but confirmed to come back as Superman at this point.
Yeah. What about the rumored Flash movie?
The Flash movie is going to happen. I do not know. I think a lot of what's going to depend on what happens with that film depends on the Snyder Cut. Because the Flash movie is either going to be used to create a whole new cinematic universe or what have you, or it's going to just double down on everything that's already been done. And that's why there's not a whole lot about it. And that's why you hear things like, Michael Keaton's supposed to be in it, but he recently said that he hasn't signed anything. Ben Affleck is.
Are you there?
Uh-oh. They got him.
I think they did.
I think they got him.
They want to do Crisis on steroids with the Flash movie. If they can do that, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And I mean the CW event.
I hope they don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Too early to do it.
Listen, guys, I want to wrap this up soon, but I do have one question I want to ask.
As long as they kill that Flash off, that would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
I have this one question here before we wrap up. There's only a few of us left, so we can do this one quick. So I like this question. What was your favorite artistic moment for you this year, Randy?
well, you would throw that to me first. Man, I don't know. My favorite artistic moment, is that personal or what? Because personally, I got an awesome nature trail out this year that nobody has probably seen that we're going to turn into a comic. That covered the history of Michigan. That was pretty cool. Artistic moment, I think that this year, probably Mandalorian again. Let me think. Because that's the only, man, it's nice to see somebody out there actually trying to save Star Wars. That's kind of that's a soft spot to me.
Saving Star Wars despite Star Trek.
Attempting. I don't know. I've watched. They've got the first season of Discovery on CBS that they're begging people to watch, and the wife loves it. She thinks that it's really cool, and I'm sitting there, dissecting the plots. But the effects on it were really nice, and the makeup on it were really good. But some of the writing in it was like, oh, really, you're going to do that?
I still have to watch Star Trek Beyond, but what J.J. Abrams did with the first two I shouldn't say remakes, the reboots of Star Trek, from Star Trek to I forgot what the second one was called, Into Darkness.
Yeah,
those were very good Star Trek movies. I have not seen Beyond because Beyond was the first movie that J.J. Abrams did not direct.
They were
but
good.
They said that it was pretty
films,
good.
Yeah.
They said that it was pretty good, but I don't think it's going to hold a candle to the first two, but I have it. I just haven't watched it.
Did that last season of Clone Wars come out this year? Didn't it?
Yeah,
because the lightsaber fight between Ahsoka and Darth Maul was amazing. Just incredible. You could tell that it was rotoscoped, but you could also tell that everybody in that animation department really gave a crap about what they were doing. Because I'm sitting there going, "Why didn't they film this? Holy crap, this is amazing!" And there's a lot there's a lot of open now that they've brought the animated stuff in and said, yes, it's definitely canon and it's definitely here. The next couple of episodes on Mando is going to be very interesting to see what they end up doing with Grogu. He'll still be Baby Yoda to so many people.
Yeah, he'll always be baby.
And what they'll end up doing is they take him and in the temple between worlds that was in Rebels, they'll stick him there and throw him back. Through the timeline or something. I wouldn't be surprised. But and he actually turns into Yoda. Guess what? He's the only one of their species after all. But I guess there's a Yaddle. There's a female Yoda that's running around. So there is species out there. So yeah.
So Joe, what was your favorite artistic moment of this year?
I'm like Randy. Is it personal or just what I came across?
Well, yeah, I mean, for you I'm asking it for you personally. What was your favorite moment?
Well, like I said, my favorite is when I say personal. I talking about stuff that I did or stuff that I have seen.
No, your work, your work.
Of my work, considering that I did 2 Kickstarters this year, actually technically 3. I did 3 this year.
Okay.
One failed, and the second time I did it succeeded, and then the Amazonia that took place just a couple of months ago. No, actually, just a month ago, because we're not technically in December right now. I would have to say it would have been what I did with Primetime Saturday Night number 0.
Okay.
That would have to be my most artistic moment, because I made a one-shot story fit into canon to the rest of the series. And And like I said, issue 0 is supposed to be a standalone story that showed the end of a rivalry, but that rivalry created what happened it was started off what the actual series was going into.
Right.
It's not really per se part of the series, but it can be.
Okay,
that's cool. One of the things. The reason why I hate writing prequel books.
You like why? Hate writing what?
I hate writing prequel books.
Oh, prequels. Gotcha.
Yeah, that issue 0 was a prequel story.
Mm.
It was a 52-page prequel story.
But I don't know. You know, it's funny. I do that sort of thing all the time where I write pre-stuff, and sometimes I find it's liberating in a way because for me, I already know what's gonna happen, so I know where to go. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I know there's certain things that I can't do because there's already part of canon. But I know there are other things that there are things maybe I wanted to explain about the world, about the characters, whatever. And I was like, okay, I can use this situation to push that forward. That's how.
In the terms of Primetime Saturday Night, there was only 2 matches that I already know the ending outcome of. And there's certain events that had to be in there for that main event because it was talked about in its sister book as well as in that series. So that match was okay, but it was the other matches that were so ambiguous that it's like I could have did anything,
right?
And it could stand on its own.
Gotcha. Well, for me, I know my big artistic moment this year, and it's funny because I haven't completed it yet, is the I guess the third life of Oswald, and whereas I'm almost done. So for me, that means like I'm almost done with the series.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm almost done writing the series. I still got a bit wait. I still have a bit to go, but I think I'm close. I'm closer than I've ever been. So I'm really happy about that. For me, that's a big artistic moment. It's like because once I've completed Oswald, I can move on to other things. Yeah, because it's like an albatross. I don't want to say it's an albatross, but it is like a monkey on my back. It's just like one of these things where it's just like, okay, I got this big story I want to tell. I want to finish it. I promised myself I would finish it by the time I was 55. I'm 3 years from that point, so I think I'm going to make it safely.
Yeah, don't procrastinate. That's the only thing you got to tell yourself is don't procrastinate. Don't procrastinate. Just get it out the way.
That's true.
My philosophy is to write at least 1 hour every day. At least 1 hour every day, and I do that every day. I don't take it. I try not to take any breaks. So as long as I stay consistent, I know I'll get it done. So, all right. Cool. So, gentlemen, I think that's it for us for tonight. The three amigos. So we'll start with Joe. Joe, where can they find you and your work?
Okay, you can find all of our comics on exigencystudios.com. That's XIGENCY studios.com. You can find me on Facebook up under Joe D. McPhee or our imprint Exigency Studios. I'm also on Twitter up under Exigency Studios, but contacting me there, you're just probably going to be waiting for a while because I really don't go out there to talk. And when I do go out there, it's only select people that I look for and communicate with. But beyond that, it have to be like catch my attention and I will pretty much respond to you. On DeviantArt, you can catch me on DeviantArt up under Silverbolt 14. And I do have a YouTube channel myself, and we do run what is called From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher. And Randy, I want to get you on that show. I want you to come onto my YouTube channel because we have to educate people.
I'd love it. Just invite me on, Joe.
Okay. So it'd probably be one of these weekends upcoming, depending on your schedule. I just need to work it out with you outside of this here. But yeah, okay. I need for you to come on because people need to get educated. Yeah, I've been holding off. I was like, yeah, it's time for people to get educated because what we talked about just a few moments ago, people need to know. People need to understand. Stop complaining about Marvel DC. You got all this other stuff out there.
And now's the time to let them know because if the alternative and independent market's going to take a foothold here, I can honestly see them becoming the mainstream. We're already the front runner of art and comics, depending upon it just irritates the hell out of me that we're so divisive, and that there's well, I'm on Kickstarter, well, I'm on Indiegogo, or I just want good comics or whatever, you know. It's idiotic. And labels are idiotic. We need to get past all of that crap and go out there and make good, funny books and good comics and entertain the crap out of people, because they need it right now, especially. And they're going to need it this next year, because this next year is really going to be shitty. So you think 2020 is bad, folks? Hang on. That's the way it's looking, at least. There could be miracles upon miracles that happen, literally, but I'm not seeing that coming right now.
I don't see us going back to the old way. It's been changed too much. It's been changed too much.
Yeah. Well, I could, next week, everything that I've been reading, depending upon what conspiracy theory you want to adhere to, there could be a new testing done. They could realize the unnecessary, the cash grabs that have been going on and that have happened out there, and the fact that how badly the economy is now crippled. And that could turn around in 2 or 3 weeks if they wanted it done. But it would take the little boy pushing his way out from the crowd and pointing at the fucking emperor and going, he ain't got no clothes on. Mm-hmm. And have them go, oh, yeah, I guess the emperor is actually naked after all. Holy crap. Because anyway, don't get me started on conspiracy theories. I'll come off as a nut. So if I'm not already.
No.
Well, we're independent. We're independent comic publishers, so we're crazy.
We're already nutty. Yeah, we're already eccentric. And
what's the definition of sanity? Already knowing that you were crazy. That's how you know that you're sane.
Well, I got a panel from E.C. Seeger's Thimble Theater that I like playing on Sunday Funnies every once in a while. That's got him talking to somebody and says, "There's those cartoonists, there's is just like you and me, except they's crazy in the head and draw pictures." So that's what it is.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. You know,
but yeah, if it's my turn, I'm on Facebook under Randy Zimmerman. I'm on Twitter under Randy Zim. I don't Twitter very often, though I'm sure I will be Twittering a lot more often for promotional purposes here in the upcoming months. I am part of the indie. I have my own YouTube channel that's Zim Geek, that I do cartoon instructional and comic talk every once in a while, though I haven't put a video up in way too long. Please go over there and like the channel, ring the bell for notifications, because I will eventually end up putting another video up there sooner or later. And I'm part of the Indie Volt podcast network that runs on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. We run a regular Indie Volt podcast. Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. we run Geekgasm, which is genre and media talk, hopefully from a feminine perspective, that Daphne Lage and Meredith Logren right now are co-hosting, while the Indie Princess is getting better. Varian and I host the Indie podcast on Tuesdays, and Thursdays Varian and I also do a breakfast buzz at 9 a.m. where we talk about comics, only caffeinated and just waking up towards the end of the week. And then again on Sundays, I come back with a Sundays Funny program at 9 a.m. where we talk about the lighter and more whimsical side of comics, hopefully, unless the conversation turns dark and dismal like it has the last couple of weeks. And Varian asks crazy questions with whoever giving an opinion about modern comics while we're trying to talk about the Golden Age. But anyway, what's important is tomorrow night's program. Tomorrow night's Indie Volt is very important. I ask everybody to listen. We're going to make a couple of very crazy announcements, and we're going to be Wile E. Coyoteing off of that cliff and looking down and seeing what happens. So you can pay attention then at 9 p.m. Tuesday nights, and you'll see what happens. We'll all see what happens.
I will more likely than not be there for that. So,
I'll try to be there, but I wasn't sure if you're going to try that Acme hand glider like you guys were playing on.
There's no Acme hand glider.
Oh boy,
it just falls apart. We already tried it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. All right, so guys, the Oswald Chronicles currently still up on Indiegogo, so go check it out. it's like I say, the greatest mouse adventure going today. So
Available for a limited time only.
yes. So please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here, and I'll be talking to you all soon. Thank you so much, guys, for showing up, and thank you for all the other guests.
Hey, thanks for having us. Yeah.
So I'll be talking to you all soon. Have a good night, guys.
You too. See ya.